It's a special day. Finally, I got Dr. Beedle to come grounding and YouTube.
Yes.
So step number 1 is taking the shoes off.
What a time to
But
be
don't
alive.
show your feet on the camera because that costs extra.
Yeah, I was gonna say free feet pics.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Hope everyone's having a wonderful Saturday. We are out here. We are slightly melting, I would say.
It's pretty nice though.
It's
not that hot today.
There's just zero shade in Las Vegas, I've realized.
Yeah.
No.
I went the other day all the way to the top, but in the middle of the day,
Mm-hmm.
that was very hot.
Yeah.
And then I came home and I was perfectly tan on one side.
There's gotta be like a bottle service person up there charging you for shade.
Right? They should.
Just
They
like
actually
all the
have
clubs.
benches and stuff up there.
That would be a hard job.
I like to go to the more difficult side.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is my favorite. I don't even know what to call you sometimes. I just call you my rehab guy.
I love that. I actually get that quite a bit. People are like, you're
Yeah.
not just my chiropractor. Someone called me a chiropractor plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really
Absolutely.
want to call you chiropractor, even though you do that. But
Right.
when I came to you the first time, it wasn't even about that.
Right.
It was my herniated disc I had.
Mhm.
And then we didn't really, I mean, maybe you call it chiropractic things, but to me, that was not really that. So I just say my rehab guy.
Yeah, we did adhesive release method on you.
Yeah.
So yeah, what that process was a lot of exercise, rehab, thorough orthopedic examination, and then soft tissue work and exercise and homework.
And people still believe I never had anything wrong with me.
The first time I met Maaxx, she goes, "Hi," and I go, "You have a disc herniation. This is a Bacody sign." And I go, "You're in a lot of pain, aren't you?" And she was like, "Yes."
It
She
was
actually,
brutal.
you hit me up on like a Sunday.
I think I had an appointment already because somebody referred me, and I had the appointment, and then it was that one day I got through it, like every day was okay, and then that day it hurt so bad I almost crashed a car because it just turned black in front of my eyes, and I just couldn't anymore. And I was laying on my floor in my house, and I texted you and I said it's an emergency.
Yeah, I remember that. I was with my nephew at the time. I was like, I gotta go help this person right now.
And he said, "Come right now." I'm like, ah. And then
on my
back
way.
into the car. Make it through the drive, Max. You know?
Driving over that car.
I just drove like this with the arm.
Yes.
It was
What's our
crazy.
topic today?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the gut.
Yes, this is a great topic. I
And
love
that's also
talking
why I
about
don't
this.
like to call you chiropractor, because I feel like there's so much more, and things we talk about and things you know and things you do, it's so much more than just that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
And
that.
I said, I even came to you and asked for advice on my blood work because I said, I don't trust a lot of people. But you think alike. So
Yes,
like we
absolutely.
think alike. And
Yeah, I get that a lot actually. You know, it's the thing that I learned about working in like hospital systems, like when I would do residencies there, and then like the high volume chiropractic clinics, is there's so much trust that you're instilling on the person that you're giving your health to, you know. So some people value it, and some people just kind of look at it as, okay, yeah, I have another person in 10 minutes, so what are we doing? You
Yeah.
know? So that's why my model, I've really liked to just base it off the individual, and every case is different, right? Like I can't say this is how much time it's going to take, because sometimes we just start talking about things that led up to the point of you being injured. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you just got to let people unload, hear them out, because maybe there's a piece of the puzzle to it where it's like you might not need to do medicine. They might just need a break, or a doc. I've given a patient a doctor's note to just rest, and that made their day, right? So
I think because everything is connected, and me too, when I do coaching, is that everything matters. So people might come to me because they want to lose weight or they want to know how to train, right? But I'm like, to me, it's like, but how's your job? How's your relationship? What do you do?
like, are you ready to do something like that? Like, what is your commitment to it? And I think like with a lot of my gut cases too, you know, people are like, oh, I'm just going to try this fad diet. And it's like, well, you can try the fad diet, but majority of the time, like for example, like you and I talk about carnivore diet all the time, right? How many people have we seen do the carnivore diet wrong?
Yeah.
A lot, right? Because number one, they don't get their blood work done or any form of testing. And then they get right into the diet, and then their fats are way through the roof, right? Which is just going to increase their LDLs and triglycerides. So I think like with the gut health thing, it's so important. And I know you're learning this too and seeing it with your clients. Like you have to spend more time with someone on a case like that. You can't just say, oh, just try this.
No.
You have to like
And
talk through.
I think too I think of certain diets like carnivore, keto, whatever. All of these things can be fantastic.
Absolutely.
And they can be
they're all
fantastic
amazing.
for certain people, but most people shouldn't even care about that right now. All we should do is, why don't we just find real food for you first?
Right, exactly.
I don't care. Maybe actually, I'm about to do a whole video about that. Eat your carbs and your fruit and your meat and all the things. But what about we just try to cut out processed first?
Absolutely.
And then when we do that and you're still not at your goal, then maybe we should consider one of these diets.
Right.
But don't go from eating shitty processed garbage to try to go like 100% into a carnivore, and then you don't even know. You just heard online somewhere that makes you lose weight. You listen to like a Joe Rogan podcast or something like that. And everyone wants like a quick fix, right? And I get it, because when you don't feel comfortable in your body or you feel unhealthy, you obviously want to feel better as fast as possible, right? But what I tell my patients is we want sustainability, right? So we want to learn a diet, and we want to learn something that we can do that's easy for a long term, instead of do that 100% and crash and burn in 3 or 4 weeks. I've been that person that was super shredded with 9-pack and a horrible stomach, and I was not happy at all. So just losing weight doesn't make anybody happy.
Right. And honestly, sometimes I know you've seen it in the fitness industry, like even when people are just completely shredded, they still don't feel good, right? Or something's wrong with their gut. So that's the most important thing too, is when we talk about sustainability, it's like, okay, what's your work schedule like? Are you able to meal prep? What's that time frame like? And then, okay, I don't want you to meal prep all 3 to 4 meals a day. Can you do 2?
Yeah.
Can you start off with 1? Right? You have to like break things down. Yeah. And I think that when people actually do that, that creates sustainability and positive momentum.
Yeah.
You know, it's all a momentum game, honestly.
And it's people don't. I said when I do a competition prep. So what I've learned, and I said, I think thanks to doing this, I become very patient.
Yes.
And when I prep, I don't really change my food very much at all. And typically, I started my prep a few months ago, and I don't lose any weight. The last 3 days, I dropped 5 pounds.
Right.
I didn't change anything. You have to let your body adapt. It will come. Right. And when you do things too quick, you're only gonna get issues. And I have clients, not always super common, but I do have clients that come and they say, okay, I don't train at all today, I don't meal prep, and I always ask them, okay, what do you think that you would like to do? I want to train 7 days a week and eat 5 meals. No, how about we do 2 days? How about we train 2 days and try for 4 meals? No, I want to do all 7. Well, first of all, I don't think you should train 7 days ever. Right. But you're not training at all right now. That's not going to work. And obviously it doesn't work. Right. Not even, I was like, I'm going to give you 2 days, and then they don't even nail that, you know?
It's all about a volume game, right? So it's what volume can you handle, and then where's your limit at, right? So if someone's like, okay, this is my limit, I can handle going to the gym, or I think my rooftop is going to the gym 5 days a week. Okay, cool. How about we do this? Let's just start off with 2, like you said, right? And then build that momentum into getting to 5, right? Yeah. You know, and then same thing with the meals. Like, it's just so hard because people are like, oh, I'm just going to eat clean. It's like yo-yoing is what I call it, right? Like, they're like, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then they crash and burn. Oh, that didn't work for me.
They destroy it after.
And they're like, that didn't work for me. And I'm like, well, what didn't work? Was it the timing? Was it the volume? Because those are the questions you got to ask yourself, right? Like, if you can ask, like, is this the right time for me to diet, right? Like, when I was working with the professional lacrosse team here, like, I was on the road every single weekend, 13 weeks straight, traveling all over the United States and Canada. So it's like, okay, what comes first? My sleep and eating clean, or the gym? Eating good food and sleeping, right? That was my top priority, right? Because the gym's always going to be there, right? So I think I got to work out, like, I don't know, probably like 4 times in 9 weeks, right? So that was really hard for me, but like, I kept my gut in check. I put good food in my body, and was I able to meal prep all the time?
You can maintain a lot of muscle just
by eating clean, right?
I mean, you can fuel your muscle. When I moved now, actually, there was not that long, but there were a few weeks I didn't train at all. I just made sure to eat,
and it's hard,
clean farm meat, a lot of it, and I'm like, I'm so sorry.
And that's the number one thing too. Like, when you look at the food that you're putting in your body, right? Because I think that's a question that you probably get a lot too. Like, I can't afford to buy organic this, organic that, and it's like, it's not that I want you to go to Whole Foods every single day or Sprouts. What I want you to either go,
that's another story.
Yeah, that's just like Walmart. People think it's
good.
But I think, like, when you're talking to a patient, right, you have to understand like socioeconomics too, right? You got to understand like where they're at, what's going on with them, and then what their community is like. And when you understand that, and you can help them, because a lot of these clinics I see with functional medicine, you know, I mean, I'll just rip the Band-Aid off. You know, they are all for the upper class, right? And that's why I'm like, everyone should be getting this form of medicine. We need to make this affordable for everyone, right? Yeah. And that's how that's how my clinic is, you know, like I want everything affordable. And I'm not saying that my way of business is the best, but like if someone has gut issues and you know you can help them, I mean, you don't want to.
So do you have patients that come to you specifically for gut issues?
All the time. I would say my business right now is probably 50% functional medicine, 50% chiro, like, which is very high for functional medicine. I've only been out of school for like 4 years. Yeah. So my goal is I want to do more strength and conditioning and chiro, obviously, but I really want to focus on showing patients and clients that this form of medicine is affordable, and you don't have to be in the suburbs to get it, and you can get it.
Can you say what do you mean with medicine? When you say medicine?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So what do we know in medicine right now? You go to the doctor, you wait 5 to 6 weeks for that appointment. You walk in, they do just a basic blood panel because they don't know who the fuck you are. They probably hardly read your intake. They're just looking for the red flags, like, okay, heart, kidney, liver, like that's what they want to look for, right?
Highlight the wrong things, like your high cholesterol.
Yeah, and like it's just they want to do basic blood panel. They'll see it. Okay, this is a little high, Mrs. Jones. Just cut back on this. We'll see you in 6 months. So you just waited 6 weeks for a 7-minute appointment, 7 to 10-minute appointment, and then you're like, huh? Well, the doctor said I'm fine, but this person is 300 pounds, and you know.
Either that, or they might be fine and they want to give them something.
Or they're like, hey, something's wrong with my gut. Okay, we'll send you to GIGU.
Oh my god!
And then that wait is 3 months.
I did that whole ride.
That wait is 3 months.
That was my last doctor's appointment ever.
And it's like there's places that you can go to, like it's not like primary care, it's more specialized medicine, like it's based off the individual, right? So it's like as long as there's a game plan, because you have to take care of the patient, that's the number one priority. Like I tell every business I work with, like I love you guys, but I only care about my patient, you know what I'm saying? Like my patient comes first, so whatever my patient needs, they need to get it, and I would like them to get it as timely as possible, right? So like when you're looking at it, you go to the doctor, you get your blood work done, and then they're like, oh, you're fine, and then you leave confused, and you're like, wait a second, I don't feel fine, but the doctor told me I'm fine. So now you're having this internal battle, like, am I crazy? Yeah. No, I'm not crazy. I really don't feel good. It's all about, and I don't think that those doctors are bad doctors. I think that they're just it's like the golden handcuffs of insurance, right? Like they go to medical school, and this is what I saw, like wanting to become a chiropractor. I wanted to look at my scope, what I'm allowed to do, practice within my limits legally. And when I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, so I could do this and do a private practice, or I go work for the insurance company, and then the insurance company tells me how to do my job. What?
I sent you a video. There's a video with this lady that went around now that she was a medical coder. And she explained how that works. Oh my, it's
well, they change it all the time because like
she said too, they're all so confused because they're taught to read things and then they just like change it completely.
Yeah, I remember one time at one of my residencies in Minneapolis, I saw a check from Blue Cross Blue Shield for 1 penny. 1 penny. It cost more to mail that check than to cash it. 1 penny. I shit you not. I was at Lynn Lake Chiropractic. He goes, look at this, John. Isn't this interesting? And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, it's the game. So after that, I was like, okay, no insurance. And then when you find someone that doesn't do insurance, especially for gut stuff, like it's hard. Like you have to get what I do, you know, stool testing, blood testing, and then you figure out what's going on. Like you want to look at the liver, you want to look at the pancreas, you want to look at kidneys, you want to look at everything. And then it's like, okay, now we got to change your lifestyle. And that's really hard, right? Telling someone, hey, the way that you've been living.
I think I always tell people, because this was I did all of that. So I was in the medical system. I went to like the GI doctor, everything. And, you know, it was just nonsense. They told me it was my protein shakes. And I'm like, I haven't had a protein shake in like 5 years. What are you talking about? Oh, it's your vitamins. You got to stop taking vitamins. I'm like, what? And then they
Yeah.
went to give me antibiotics. I was like, nothing makes sense right now. Please.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm leaving. And then I was so bad, 24/7, just constant pain. Like nothing worked. I looked like I was pregnant, and it was just horrible.
Yeah.
And I found a holistic doctor, and I was desperate. I didn't know what to do. So it cost me $15,000 with everything we had to do. But I was so desperate. I was like, I remember, and that was like all I had on my card. I was like,
Yeah.
But I said, he helped me though. It worked. It took me almost a whole year. But when I was there, we tested. So somehow I had got streptococcus in my stomach.
Yeah. Yep.
And
it's very
it was
common,
just
actually. I
the
see it a
whole
lot.
like digestive, nothing worked. It wasn't like, no, I was going to the bathroom, but it was almost like things would just go right through me.
Yep. Yeah. We see that all the time. You know, like people forget like our mouth is the beginning of our GI tract, right?
Yeah.
And then so if you get a sinus infection and it drips down, right? Goes from our nault to our gulp, like it goes from here. This is the beginning of our mucosal layer.
You're not
So
basic.
it just works its way
You're
all the way
missing
down.
the whole-
I am missing out on
You're missing
everything.
the whole
I have to show everyone these
health
hogs.
benefit here. I want you to leave and feel like it's the best day of your life.
The government's gonna come down here and take pictures of my feet. But yeah, so it's like the whole concept of like, okay, so you brought up a good point, like holistic medicine, right? And I get this all the time because people are like, he's a holistic guy, and I'm like, I don't understand that because I use LabCorp, which is what hospitals use. I need to all have the same testing facilities. I just don't use pharmaceuticals. And if a patient does need a pharmaceutical, I refer them to a provider that could prescribe that pharmaceutical that patient would need.
I mean,
So it's like it's so confusing.
when maybe that is needed.
Yeah,
But
it's just so confusing how people are like, oh, well, it's holistic, and it's like, right, but what is holistic to you? Like, what are you? What's your definition of holistic? Because what one person might think is holistic, another person's like, oh no, that's just medicine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like now in hospitals, like and primary care, they can prescribe you vitamin D. What makes it holistic if I do it? You see what I'm saying? Like that's what I always tell people, right? It's always.
But maybe the difference is that you wouldn't prescribe them the other stuff while they're over there. They kind of take the medication as the first step rather than trying to figure it out first.
Yeah, like what they want to do is like, and I totally get the system. They all want to listen. Everyone in medicine, we're really out to help people. Like I think that there's more. It's all up for interpretation, right? Like everyone is out there at some point in time to help people, right? Like, chiropractors get dogged on all the time. I literally dog on chiropractors. Chiropractors dog on chiropractors. There's good janitors and bad janitors. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's people because of how we're trained.
Right.
And I think a lot of people I know, like my first holistic doctor I went to, he was a regular doctor, worked in the hospital, and then he got really sick. And he started the treatment for himself as they do in the hospital and realized this is not going to work. It's only making me worse. Right. And that's how he found out. So he didn't even know. And I think a lot of people don't know.
Right.
Because that's not how you're taught. It's not like you go to school and they're like, we're going to fuck with people. Right. Like, of course, that's not how it works.
Well, I always laugh because like one of my closest friends, Trevor, he's an MD. And we were just talking about schooling. And I'm like, how much nutrition do you guys do? And he's like, 2 weeks. And I go, So like at my school, we did a year and a half at like the master's level of nutrition, right?
So wait, so like, what did you study?
So I went to school to become a chiropractic physician at Northwestern Health Science University, and that's in Minneapolis. And so Northwestern, our school, we're the most medically sound chiropractic school in the U.S. So we have MDs teaching us certain classes like infectious disease, microbiology. We learn pathophysiology from an MD. We learn physical therapy classes from PTs and chiros. We learn, obviously, manipulation classes from a chiropractor. We learn nutrition from a nutritionist. We had naturopaths. We had everything in there. And that's why I chose the school, because I'm like, this is a knowledge just vault. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm learning from people that are actually in that field, whereas some schools, they just have chiros that were really good at those classes when they went to chiro school. Got A's just to teach it. And I'm like, why would I want to learn from someone that's not doing that in the field? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's like something to say with professors too, right? Like some people are just like made to teach, and some people are made to help others, right? Either way, they're both helping.
A lot of people use, like I said, when I talk online now, I don't have any. I mean, I studied certain, like I'm licensed in certain things, like nutrition and like training, corrective training, suspension training, a bunch of stuff. I don't even typically say this because nothing I ever read is anything I do.
Right.
And when people, I'm not saying that you can't read things that are good knowledge, but I'm glad I don't have certain degrees. And people like to say, oh, but it's like this, and where's your science degree? I'm like, I don't have one, but you have one, but for some reason I'm healthy and you're not.
Right.
So what you read, clearly you're either not doing it or it doesn't work, right?
Right.
So why does this degree matter? Because a lot of, I even have actually somebody I know very well that like to kind of not say that I am wrong, that's not what it is, but have conversations and kind of like point out things that I say that, well, this isn't really true because this is, you know, science. But you're not healthy though at all. You have a lot of issues actually. So I'm not saying it's wrong, but clearly I don't understand how this degree matters right now.
So I think like the easiest way to simplify that is clinical experience, right? I think that's the most important thing. There's things that you learn in school that, you know, I had so many classmates that are like, why the fuck am I learning this? I'm never going to apply this. Right? It's like, no, you need to learn this, like, because what if you do have to use this someday? Right? And then you have people that learned all these things and then they're never going to use them. Right? But then because they have their degree, they can argue with people. You see what I'm saying?
And I think you have to go out and actually
you have to
apply things.
you have to have experience. You got to do trial and error, right? Like, I mean, have I helped 100% of my patients? Absolutely not. But if I can't, I refer them to someone that can. You know, and it's all trial and error game, right? Like we're all in this together. You know, like no one knows everything. No. Because every patient's different. If you think you know everything, then you should probably work for the insurance companies.
Right?
Because then it's like, all right, well, now I'm a statistic and then I'm just going to fall back in the circle of, well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Right? But it's just wild because it's like, you know, I get this all the time. And we've talked about this too, how people are like, oh, that stuff doesn't work that he does. You know? And it's like, well.
Also,
you know,
I said, if somebody, what I always say, if you don't believe something is going to work, because I said, just on my herniated disc. So remember we talked about somebody else who had the same problem, right? And I came to you with the intention that I wanted to fix it.
Right.
So what you told me to do, I did it. And I did it a lot. And then another person I know did the same thing and said it didn't work. But turning out that the person wasn't actually doing
the things that
their
we talked
things
about.
still.
Right.
So a person have to want to. And I said, if you go somewhere and you kind of, either you just tell yourself that, you know, this is just shit and it's not going to work. No, then it isn't going to work.
Right.
You have to.
You got to change your vocabulary and mindset. You got to change your that's the first thing I tell patients.
Everything comes under it. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to change your vocabulary. And I think too, like, going back to the gut, right? So like you got a couple things, right? You have people that are like, they listen to a podcast and the people on the podcast talk about really good science. And those people are really smart. I'm not dissing anyone on a podcast. That's not what I'm doing. But what I'm saying is that like people listen to these podcasts, but there's no like follow-up of talk to a provider about this. You know, and that's the one thing too that I think is awesome about. It's just funny because like on the other side of medicine, I guess we'll call it conventional, even though we're all kind of doing the same thing. But like they'll talk to a provider first, which is awesome, which is also what the other side should be doing too, but they're not doing that. They're just saying things in a podcast and then people are like, I have to do that. And then they do it and then it doesn't work. And then it creates this cycle of, oh, well, that doesn't work. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or it's like, if you take the time, find the right provider for you first, right? Then ask questions on what you think you would like to apply. They will coach you through it.
Yeah.
They will talk you through it. And then we'll figure out if that's the right thing for you to do.
I think also like how I do things, I have my little very small squad of people that I like to try things myself and see for myself.
Absolutely.
And when I talk online, I only talk about things I have done.
Right.
You will never hear me talk about things that I
I
would not go on and have a conversation about something I don't know anything about.
You have to try
and
everything.
Then I have my squad of people. I have you and then a few other people, which whenever there's something, I ask you guys. And then I was like, if we all agree on something, it's probably pretty on point, right?
Yep. Like I tell patients, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, looks like a duck, it's probably a fucking duck.
Yes.
Right. So it's good. This has been a good experience, you know, like, and it's nice to see that people are like trying to reach out to the public with people like a following like yours, you know, because some people use their following for other things, right? More like materialistic things. Sometimes, not saying that it's everyone's like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying,
it's all needed, but we
how do you
need,
want to use your microphone?
considering how the world works, I feel we need more of this, and it probably is, but we're also banned.
Right.
So
you say one word and then Instagram's like, fuck you.
There's probably a lot more of this than what we know because we don't see it.
Yeah, and that's why I loved functional medicine school so much. And so I did Functional Medicine University and the Institute of Functional Medicine. So I have both those certificates, and it's all data. Yeah. That's what I care about, data and learning about things, right? Cool. Show me the studies that worked. Show me the stuff that didn't work. Yeah. Right? Like, show me both sides. I want to know why someone's like, don't go to that functional medicine guy because that shit's not gonna work. Okay, can you show me like what you're reading so it can make me a better provider? Because maybe there's something I'm missing. Yeah. So it's like, I would love to know what the enemy's saying, and they're like, it's all open. And I don't want to say enemy, but I guess we'll just use that term, right? But like, I want to know what their thoughts are on why that doesn't work. Okay, well, why? Show me. Yeah. And then they show me, okay, I can see your standpoint. Can I show you something? Yeah. And then we cross correlate, right? So it's a weird piss and match. I've been talking about sun gazing a lot lately, so I do it every day. Do you do it? I'll do it like when the sun is rising, when I'm at the beach.
Oh, no, I'll do it.
My mom always told me not to stare at the sun. It makes sense for me, though.
I do. Either way, so I had a conversation with somebody about this. Everyone should do whatever feels right for you. If you want to do it at sunrise or sunset, you do that. I stare in the middle of the day every day. And it works for me. But I have somebody tell me, no, you can't do that. Actually, a person that we align on a lot of things. And then we talked about that. And he's like, no, that can't do that. You're going to go blind. And I was like, wow. Oh, I'm very shocked to hear that, considering like how we think alike on so many things.
You guys just like mindset.
And this person said, yeah, but it doesn't work because this person I know, their eyes get really damaged. And I was like, oh, I was like, I would love to talk to this person, actually. I would love to know how that happened.
Right,
because
exactly. Like, can I get that information?
It's very interesting. Like, if it actually hurt somebody, I would love to know why.
Right.
Oh, no, so it turned out that this person has a very extreme medical condition. I'm like, that's a really reliable source.
So it could be is it the medical condition or was it the sun, right? So, and that's the thing, too, like, just with everything, right? When we talk about the gut, it's like, okay, do you have any prior medical conditions? Have you been on medications? You know, what is your health history? What's your stress like? You know, what's your environment like? What's your friend group like? You know, like, I mean, I heard this thing in school, and they said your friend group will tell you the next 10 years of your life. It kind of makes sense, right? Like, the people you surround yourself with, that will seriously kind of dictate your health a little bit, right? You hang out with people that party every single weekend.
Well, everything would change everything on you. The way you think, the way you are, everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of a hard pill to swallow, too, because, like, when you're looking at it, you're like, oh, shit, you know, and how I look at all that stuff, you know, like my brother Davey, it's weird. It's the anniversary of, like, when we had a celebration of life, you know, and he was an alcoholic. And in my hometown, I love my hometown. I love where I'm from, right? It's a great city. But, you know, it's the same bar, same seat, same drink, different day, every day. Yeah. You know, and not a lot of people leave that.
It's kind of
and the people that stay, that's not, and the people that stay, it's not a bad thing. It's just like, I knew that I couldn't be around that because, like, seeing what happened to that environment, like, and my brother, you know, him and I were really close, you know, and then, like, same thing with my dad, you know, he died of type 2 diabetes. That only took 4 years, you know, so and he didn't even drink. Just poor diet, just not understanding things, right? And he didn't get the education, right? And I think that's what really propelled me into getting to doing what I'm doing now. It's all education based, and just like you know, everyone just wants to help people, right? At some point, right? And then some people see dollar signs sometimes, and then that's where they try to push that, you know. But I think really at the end of the day, we all just want to try to help each other. I know that sounds so fucking cliche and hippie and hallmarky, but really we do want to just try to help. I was talking to a
client the other day about, I have one client, she's my star client. She has achieved everything. Like, yes, she lost her weight, she got her abs, but she also got a new job, 3 races, a house. Now she can work from home, like
elevating
everything. So I want to bring her on one day to talk about it, how she actually did her mindset routines and how much more important that was than just getting to the gym, you know?
I think, like, the first thing, like, vocabulary, right? You probably had a coach on that, right? You got to change vocabulary.
And I always tell her, I'm like, thank you for actually listening and trying. because now you saw that it worked. And then we were talking about it the other day. I was like, if you asked, me and her said, us years back, you would say like we're hippies, right?
Right. Yeah.
Everything
Absolutely.
was like hippies. I was like, yeah, I'm a
you guys
damn
are
hippie
casting
right
spells
now.
over there. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
nature and
I know. Here we are,
like
just sitting on a mountain. Yeah, maybe we are hippies. I'm just kidding. You're sitting on a rock right now, barefoot. Have government take pictures of our feet.
And now I'm about to dress like one soon too, because I'm learning all about this fabric chemical stuff they do.
Oh
now
yeah.
I don't even want to wear clothes anymore.
And that what? So that's a good point. That's a good point too. Like, there's so much data out there, but sometimes like data can like mentally fuck you. You know, like I tell patients all the time. Right? I was just talking to someone this morning. She goes, "Do you think I need hormones?" And I go, "You've made it this far, and you're exercising and doing this much." Without them, do you think you need them? And she's like, wow, I didn't think of it like that. No, I don't think I do. Right? It's just like you got to stop and smell the roses, I guess, you know, see what's going on. But there's just so much data out there, and sometimes we could potentially overanalyze some things, right? But then like the concept gets hard when you try to explain that to people, and then they're like, whoa, you're fucking going off the deep end. You know?
And I always tell people to do like a little thing. I said, so I talk about, I've done a lot, but I didn't do this overnight. No. So like now I actually I changed my toothbrush to like this bamboo toothbrush, and I changed my toilet paper, like all the things, and now my clothing. But I said, you don't have to go and do all these things. I still have not changed everything in my life, and maybe I never will. But what I like to do is, okay, so next week, you know what, maybe I should read in a little bit more on the laundry detergent I'm using. Like, take one thing at a time. Just don't try to do it all.
Sustainability.
Yeah.
Just like we were talking about,
I just change a little thing at a time, really.
That's all you really should do, right? Like, I tell my patients, you got to crawl, then you got to walk.
Unless you're really sick, then maybe you have to make a lot of changes.
Yeah. And
right away.
Even sometimes with sick people too, though, right? Like, it's all about where do we start, right?
Yeah.
Where do we start? Like, where can we get the best amount of relief in the shortest amount of time to build the most momentum to get us to where we need to go? You know,
you just want to do something that applies a feeling, so they can notice that okay, it's actually, it feels a little better now, so that can start motivating them.
Right. Everyone wants to feel better at the end of the day, and everyone wants the best provider, and everyone wants the best testing, and everyone wants the best of everything. But you need to figure out what's best for you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You might not be ready for a Gary Brecka system. You might not be ready for my system. You know, they might not be ready for your system. They need to just figure out what's best for them at that time to build momentum to get to where they want to go.
Yeah. You know? And I like to say I changed my whole coaching, so that's why I call it the No Bloat Club. I want to have people fix their guts because I know my gut was so bad, and when your stomach hurts and doesn't work, you are never happy. Right. You're just miserable. And people will come to me and they, I want to lose all this weight. And I had a client a while ago, I'm not coaching her anymore, but she wanted so badly to lose weight, right? And she didn't lose any weight on the scale. She looked better though, and her bloating went away. So she's like, yeah, I'm not losing any weight. It's not working. And I said, but look at your stomach. She's like, yeah, my stomach feels great. I'm like, so it is working, right? But you're focusing only on the weight loss right now. I said my goal was to fix your stomach, and we did that. And like that's what I wanted to do for you. Now you can work on the other part, but the priority there was just no, it's not working, it's not working, it's not working. But now you have a flat tummy and you go to the bathroom every day. Right.
Yeah, I talk to people about that all the time. Right. It's all about numbers are like a language. Right. So like you have people that need to look at the scale, or you have people that you could use a tape measure. You see what I'm saying?
I do for myself.
I tape measure all my clients.
I don't
all
change
my patients.
Weight very much ever.
We tape measure everything. So everything that we do is done by a tape measure, right? Because sometimes, as you know, right, like you're going to lose inches, but the weight might not change, right? So, and it's wild too, because like when we talk about the gut, there's so many cool things that you could do for it. And when I tell people, do you know that 75% of your immune system is from your gut? Yep. 90%, 85 to 90% of your serotonin is made in your gut, right? That blows people's mind away. I always make the joke, what happens to girls when they get hungry? Hangry. And then they eat, and then they're like, I love you, baby. Yeah.
Actually, I don't get hangry anymore. I used to. So I used to get I had like insulin funk
Yeah.
going on. So I used to get hypoglycemic and I would just be on the ground and just shaking and shit.
Oh yeah.
And
That's
somebody
scary.
told me that you could fix this through fasting. So I was like, okay. So I did 42-hour fasting. I felt like absolute garbage. And it's never happened again.
Really?
I can go half of the day without eating. The only thing I still notice, I don't feel like I feel good. The only thing I notice is my body temperature goes down to ice cube.
Yeah.
So I don't think
I used to do
should do that, but
I used to do fasting in Cairo school. I would do a 24-hour fast. So I wouldn't eat anything on Saturday. Then Sunday I'd break my fast when I was doing the carnivore diet. I loved the carnivore diet. It's just not sustainable for me, you know. But thank God
it's so well, I know some people do like kind of carnivore diet.
Yeah.
But I say if you're gonna do full blown carnivore, it's literally just meat and fat.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing else to
it's
it.
Relatively simple.
And then
you
I know a lot of people.
Your protein and your fat intake. That's like the most important thing, I'd say. And maybe get some carbs in you too, though, for a little bit of energy, right?
But then it's
like
not
the
carnivore.
blueberries. Yeah.
Technically.
I guess technically. That's the thing. Is like diets turn into gangs.
Yeah.
You know, I'm carnivore.
I guess it depends what the goal is. The same.
It's like Bloods and Crips.
I talk a lot to my other friend who's a holistic doctor about the keto diet. And that's the thing. A lot of people do keto, but like, what's the actual purpose of keto diet? To be in ketosis, right? And people do the diet, but they're never in ketosis.
Well, right, but they want to do the diet. I'd say majority would want to do the diet to lose weight because they see that, or they've heard, or they've seen that someone loses weight faster doing that diet than any other diet, right? Like I talk about the low FODMAP diet a lot. That's literally the ketogenic diet, but you get to eat vegetables and you get to eat fruits, and people don't understand that. They think keto, you just need to eat fucking butter and heavy whipping cream for breakfast, and it's so.
And so I don't understand unless you're like 20. I mean, I'm close to 40. I most certainly don't want to lose weight fast. That's why I prep so long. Like my skin is not going to look that tight and nice then. Which people don't think about.
You look younger than most like 30-year-olds. So.
Yeah, but I do everything very slowly.
Right. It's sustainable.
Because I know, I mean, I can still see, like when I lose my fat to compete, my skin gets looser.
Yeah.
But so if I did it too quickly, it would be even worse.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Not at all.
And actually now, I'm sad. I'm going fanatic, but I only eat organic, no GMO fruits and vegetables with a peel on, so I can cut off the peel since they're probably still sprayed.
Right.
So right now I don't eat any leafy greens, and I'm not saying people shouldn't do that, but I just
definitely.
I don't.
And I get why people don't want to because pesticides, glyphosate.
So I eat fruit 4 times a day now, and I eat high carbs and red meat 5 times a day, and I dropped 6 pounds.
Red meat is so good for you. It is so good for you. Right?
I'm just like, people say, oh, you shouldn't eat this and you shouldn't eat that. I'm eating all those things that you shouldn't eat.
The thing I learned about, like, so this is what people say, red meat's bad for you. And I'm like, okay, what type of red meat are you talking about? Are you talking about a McDonald's cheeseburger or a grass-fed steak? Like, because those are not the fucking same.
No.
You know what I'm saying? The beef is not the same by any means, right? And like, listen, I eat fast food every once in a while. Like, I'm human, I'm normal. Like, I'm a normal person.
I can't anymore.
Yeah.
I can't.
I'll get there someday.
My stomach is. I said, if you're ever wondering if a food is good or bad for you, just give me a bite. I will tell you.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And that's what I tell people too. I go, you want to do a fucking $600 food allergy test? Food allergy tests, they're clinically relevant, but for your lifestyle, it's not the same. Like,
but I don't know.
Are you ever just gonna eat one egg? No, you don't eat one egg plain. People do salt, pepper, egg, cooking butter, and then like they'll put cheese on it or salsa. That's not the same thing that they tested on that food allergy.
But I also, now knowing what I know these days, because I did all the food sensitivity tests, but what I realized is that I'm not sensitive to any of the things I was sensitive to because of I changed my lifestyle, and it can also be trauma related, and I don't have any sensitivities. And also, there is an egg and there's an egg. So I'm going to this farm today to get real eggs. I also used to be allergic to chicken, but I can eat chicken from the farm.
Right. And it's all about what they're putting in it, or like what you cook in it. And like I tell patients all the time that ask me about food allergy tests, having a glass of wine will break down differently than having wine and cheese. having a glass of wine with a cracker, then cheese will break down differently. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for doing a really expensive test like that, I really just want to save people time and money. It's like, and so do a lot of people, but some people also want answers. But I think the food sensitivity tests, personally for me in my office, I haven't seen them to be clinically relevant.
No.
Right? Just because.
I used to think, but I said I had like 70 things on that paper, and I stopped eating all of them.
What makes you scared of things too? They just give it. They just give it to you, and they're like, "Stay away from this," and then it freaks people out. I have a client that got one of those tests, and she is so scared of food right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not the concept of why we have that test, right? And then she didn't get educated on don't be afraid of these foods, right? They're just like, stay away from this.
Just try to
so now
find,
she's freaked out of everything, and it's like, well,
things.
Right? Like,
also something I know too. I used to help a friend with meal prepping, so I made her a meal plan. And then at one point I went actually to grocery shop with her. So she had on her meal plan, it was like salmon something. And I always tell people, 1 ingredient food. You want to buy the salmon, and then you buy whatever seasoning, whatever, you do it yourself. She went to the store, and I hear, Maaxx, look, the salmon is on sale, she said. She's like, oh, great. She threw a bunch of her in her basket, and I go over and pick it up, and I'm like, this is not salmon. It's salmon. It's cheese. It's like, I don't even know all the fucking marinations and shit that was on there. I was like, that's not it.
Or getting a salmon that's like the size of our thighs, from Costco. I'm like, that's not really. I don't think salmon really get that big. But then people walk by the typical salmon that's like bright red, and still has the bones in it. So.
I don't really know where to get fish either. I come from a fish city in Sweden. I'm used to really good fish. Yeah. Over here, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't really trust I'm not really. Fish here.
I mean, I like fish. Just being from Wyoming, though, we're just kind of like meat and potatoes people.
Yeah.
That's just like, that's my go-to. I wouldn't really be able to give a good answer on that.
No, I don't know.
There's a bunch of like good seafood markets, though.
Yeah, just know where they come from and what's in that fish.
Right.
Actually, I don't really eat any fish right now.
Yeah.
Just my meat for
That's
meat.
Right. Meat gang.
And the raw. Eat it raw.
I love it. Well, this has been awesome.
Have you had raw meat?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had raw meat. I've done liver, spleen.
My digestive system. I don't even use digestive enzymes anymore.
Yeah, like when you figure out the amount that you need, you're gonna be just fine. Just like with any type of diet, unless it's the strictly vegan diet. And if you don't supplement with B vitamins, that's a whole nother topic.
Yep.
That's a whole.
I'm not a fan. I'm just saying. People think I don't
Some of my
hate
sickest
vegan
patients.
stuff. That's not what it's about. But it's about, there are so many vegans that get sick because you need to know what you're doing. And most vegan food is garbage.
Well, a lot of times too, like, I get why people become vegan, right? Because they feel bad for the animals, and I absolutely get that. Factory farming should be illegal. Factory.
Oh no, yeah.
Factory farming. Factory farming should be illegal. I fucking hate that. You know, it's disgusting.
Yes.
Those animals live a terrible life, and it's gonna be terrible meat, right?
Yep.
Organic, sustainable farming is where it's at, right? And there's a lot of those in Wyoming, Montana.
Yeah, I mean, it tastes. You can't
There's
even
a difference.
compare.
Well, I mean, even just put them next to each other. You know what I'm saying?
People
like, I always tell people that I'm like,
meat that it was fake because it was so red.
Yeah, I tell people all the time. I'm like, buy beef from a local rancher, and then compare it to, just take a picture of it and compare it to a steak at Walmart or Target. Even though Target's like, oh, it's clean. It's like, yeah, you're Target. You're Target.
Yep.
So
it's bullshit.
It really is.
Okay.
It's such a nice day.
Can remember any last advice for guts?
I think, my last bit of advice would be honest with yourself. Be honest with the person you work with, right? Because the number one thing is communication. You know, like you talked about, like some clients that like maybe it just didn't work out, and it's a communication thing on both sides. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything's communication based, and understanding like where you're at and looking for something that is attainable and sustainable, right? Like that's the most important thing. Like seriously, like I said, everyone wants the best doctor. Everyone wants the most expensive test. Where are you at right now, though? Where are you at right now? And how are we going to get to those steps? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the most important thing. Do you know Bloat Club? Is that what it is?
No Bloat Club?
No Bloat Club.
NBC,
NBC. Do NBC, everybody. Do NBC.
Yeah, come. I recommend all of my if they can, I recommend you to them.
Absolutely. Vice versa.
Also.
Yeah, so.
And I just said, because I said too, like if when something was wrong, I
Mhm.
went to you a lot, but now I just kind of go for maintenance.
Yeah, like you're good now, right? And that's the thing too. It's like if I had you in my office every day, I'm not doing a good job. Like that's what people
No.
don't understand. Like
Yeah.
some places are like, oh, well, do you go to the chiro? You got to go every day. And I'm like, yeah, then
No.
that's probably not a good chiro if you're going every day, right?
Yeah.
Now, some cases you got to spend a little more time on. I
Yes.
get that. However, that's not my model. My model is
And-
figure out what's wrong, fix it, teach you how to stay out of that pain. Get the fuck out of my office. Go tell your friends.
I think too
You know?
that if people actually, if they have the finances for it,
Mhm.
go when you're not shitty.
Right.
Like
see what's going on,
go
or see
and
what's
get
building up.
things adjusted.
Yep.
But now I do, because I have been really shitty.
Right.
So now I make sure I definitely go before I'm really
Well,
shitty.
like look at your case. Like you're like, hey, I have hip pain. Can you get me in? We get you in. Treat you once. Talk about like, okay, let's just do this volume for exercise. Rest this, and then how do you feel now?
Oh, my hip. That was so. I said
Easy, right? Easy.
I went for a session with you, and then I spoke to my hip.
Mm-hmm.
I just stare at it and say that. Oh yeah, remember the finger thing?
Yeah, I was
you?
just gonna
I did
say,
that, but
grow,
to the hip.
grow.
And then I just went on a mountain walk that day and skipped the gym, and then just eat clean as always.
Went and climbed a mountain.
Get
while
my
having hip
vitamins
pain.
in,
Talk to
and then the
yourself.
day after I
Yeah.
trained heavy legs, like nothing ever happened.
It's all mindset, right? It's where you're
Well,
at.
yeah, you also when you get to the point where your body is healthy,
Mhm.
it heals
Yeah,
very fast.
absolutely. And it's having a good understanding too. Like stress management is huge too, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, when I get stressed, I get like low back pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
thank God I have my amazing wife that's like, you're gonna be fine. You're stressed.
Yeah.
You're gonna survive.
I mean,
And I'm
stress
like, how am I gonna fix
does
these people?
so much.
How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna fix these people? How am I gonna do this? And she's like, you're fine. You're stressed.
Mm-hmm.
And then you relax, and then you're like, oh, I am just stressed.
Yeah.
I need a rest. I need to eat. I need to put good food in my body. I need to rest. I need to listen to myself, right? Instead of, okay, I need to go get a trigger point injection. I need to go do PRP. I need peptides right now, right? Which those are all fucking awesome things, but it's like you don't need to throw everything on it right
Stress can.
Oh,
Actually, I got.
killer.
Yesterday I got a little stressed over something. So I have my 3 times I've been like shut out and hacked in my crypto accounts, and I have a cold storage now, and I want to move everything in there, and I can't. So I was on a customer support call for I don't know how long, and I got like hyped up because these people. It's been 2 months of calls, and they don't help me. And then I hung up, and my eyes started twitching so bad, and I'm like,
it's like
oh my god, it's like
an atom bomb about to go off. You're short circuiting. You're like,
I just started laughing. I'm like, okay, that's definitely me.
You're
just
like,
being
I'm about
stressed
to murder
right
someone right now if this doesn't get fixed.
I just started laughing actually.
The crypto game is so great, but it's so fucking stressful. It's like the most intense thing anyone will ever go through, but it's so worth it.
So, well, these days at least I know I'm like, okay, now I'm stressed. Okay, I need to just. So I just laughed a little, went to the gym, had a workout, and feel good.
Then you're like, I'm back.
Wow. Yeah.
But now you're talking about your eye starts twitching again. You're like, God damn it.
No,
I was just kidding.
It stopped. It stopped after the workout actually.
That's good.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I
We'll do
seriously
more.
appreciate it. Yes, absolutely. I would love to be back. We'll find
so
another
nice to
spot.
sit here,
Yeah,
right?
This is great. Another spot. We'll sit on top of the stratosphere.
Can go. I'll put it in the caption too. But where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram. That's the easiest way. DrJohnBeedle. Dr. John Beedle. We'll see you guys. Have a great day.
My nail's broken.